When you hear the name Leonardo da Vinci, your mind probably jumps straight to the Mona Lisa, right? Or maybe The Last Supper. But the real story, the true genius, wasn't just in his paintbrush. It was in his mind. A mind that was so boundlessly, so relentlessly curious. Today, we're going to dive into the man who didn't just define the Renaissance. He was dreaming up the future, centuries ahead of his time. And it all really starts with one big question. So let's just start there, with this huge question that kind of hangs over everything about Leonardo. What actually makes a mind timeless? What allows someone's ideas to echo not just for a few years, but for over 500 years? Well, the answer starts to take shape in the story of a young boy from a little town called Vinci. All right, so let's go back. Picture this: Vinci, 1452. Leonardo is born, but he's the illegitimate son of a local official and a peasant woman. And because of that, he was completely shut out from a formal classical education. And believe it or not, that turned out to be the single greatest thing that ever happened to him. See, here's the key. Because nobody was there to teach him what to think based on old books, Leonardo had to teach himself how to see. His classroom wasn't a stuffy room, it was the entire countryside. His teachers were birds in flight, the way water swirls in a river, and his main tool, an insatiable curiosity and a sketchbook. This foundation, this idea of learning by looking, would define absolutely everything he did for the rest of his life. Okay, so let's jump forward a bit. He ends up in Florence, apprenticing in one of the best workshops around. And this is where his unique, science-based way of seeing things didn't just make him a good painter. Oh no, it made him a flat-out revolutionary. He wasn't just copying what he saw, he was dissecting it, understanding it from the inside out. And wow, if you want a perfect example of this, look no further than The Last Supper. Seriously, this is not just a painting of 13 guys having dinner. It is a lightning bolt of human drama, captured with the precision of a scientist in the soul of an artist. I mean, just look at what he's doing here. He chooses the single most dramatic moment possible, the exact second Christ says one of them will betray him, and turns it into a scientific study of human emotion. Every single apostle is reacting in a totally unique, psychologically real way. Then he uses perfect mathematical perspective to literally pull you into the room. This wasn't just a painting, it was a radical experiment. In fact, his paint techniques were so experimental that the masterpiece started to flake away almost immediately. His other big artistic innovation, his secret weapon really, was a technique called sfumato. It literally means turned to smoke. By blurring the outlines and blending colors so subtly, he made his subjects look unbelievably alive. This is the secret sauce behind the Mona Lisa's mysterious smile. It's a technique that came directly from observing how light and air actually look in the real world. But as incredible as the paintings are, if you really want to get inside Leonardo's head, you have to look beyond the canvas. You have to peek into his private world, his notebooks. This is where you see a mind that just refused to accept that there were any lines between art, science, and, well, anything else. We have over 7,000 pages of his notes that have survived to this day. Just let that sink in for a second. 7,000 pages, crammed with sketches, questions, theories, and inventions. This wasn't some casual hobby. This was the daily output of a mind that was always working. And the stuff in these notebooks, it's just mind-blowing. One page will have these incredibly detailed drawings of human muscles that he learned from dissecting corpses. Flip the page, and there's a design for a flying machine that's centuries ahead of its time. He's got plans for armored tanks, studies on how a bird's wing works, notes on geology. For Leonardo, it was all connected. Art was science, science was art. It was all just part of one epic quest to figure out how everything works. But, and this is a big but, having a mind that operates on that level, it comes with a price. And that brings us to the great paradox of Leonardo's career. This certified genius was famous for never finishing anything. His mind was just too restless, too curious. When a patron hired him, he didn't see it as just a job to get done. He saw it as an opportunity to launch a massive research project. He was way more interested in the journey of figuring things out than he was in delivering the final product. And you can imagine this drove the people paying him completely nuts. And you see this cycle play out over and over again. He gets a huge commission. Then he falls down a rabbit hole of observation and sketching. Then he starts inventing some brand new, untested technique to achieve his vision. The deadline comes and goes, and eventually a new, more exciting idea captures his attention, and the original project is just left behind. So does that make him a failure for not finishing? Or was that process, that relentless questioning, his real masterpiece? So in the end, Leonardo moves to France to work for the king, and it's here, as we look back on his life, that we can finally see the true shape of his incredible, unmatched legacy. I mean, people knew it even then. He wasn't some obscure artist. His final patron, the King of France himself, basically said he was in the presence of a genius beyond compare. He knew he was dealing with someone who just saw the world on a whole different level. So what is his real legacy? It's not just a few paintings, as amazing as they are. It's the powerful, beautiful idea that everything is connected. He showed us that an artist can think like a scientist, and an engineer can learn from the patterns of nature. His greatest gift to us was proving that true genius isn't about some innate talent you're born with. It's about feeding a relentless, unstoppable curiosity. Which brings us all the way back to our first question. What makes a mind timeless? It's the refusal to stay in one lane, the refusal to accept boundaries. Leonardo's life leaves us with one final powerful question. And it's not about him, it's about us. He proved that curiosity is the ultimate tool. So the only question left is, what will you use it to discover?